Hi, this is No Shad, so No Shad Spurs video podcast. I'm gonna call this YouTubes because apparently that's what Eggsy's calling it, so that's what I'm gonna start calling it now. Hopefully I'll see Eggsy tomorrow before the very important Fulham game. If you haven't seen it already, my preview's already up there. I need to label and detail it and all that kind of shit, but yeah. To really talk about how it's all comes down to this. It's really weird. I mean, I still think we'll get fourth. I don't see Newcastle beating Everton. I really don't. I can't even see them drawing, to be totally honest. And so our goal difference is so good. I think we're like miles ahead. But if someone said to us, "Do you know what? We'll get fourth," I'd be like, "Yeah, we'll take it." And especially with the Luka Modric saga. Is that something that will cloud my view towards him? I don't know. You guys decide. It's something. I'll always be a little bit pissed about it because 2010, he signs a new contract. Everyone's happy. This is before we even get fourth. Him, Bale, both sign new contracts, and then suddenly he thinks, "Do you know what? I want to play for Chelsea." I don't blame him. They're gonna offer him 120 grand a year, or 120 grand a year, 120 grand, 120 billion pounds a year or something. Well, good luck offering that now. Financial fair play, and if you're out of the Champions League, that's what 50 million. Don't know how you're gonna be able to offer that, but still, I think it's gonna be, it'll always cloud my view. It's really funny now. This time to see, I mean, Spurs are in there, player of the season. We'll do our player of the season at Spurs for. I'm sure Spurs artists will do the same. Top Spurs, and for many of us, Luka was our player of the season. Ahead of Rafa. Oh, interesting. Who would you have? I've got 4 candidates. For me, it's going to be Benny, Eunice, Brad Friedel. Actually 5, because I'm going to include Adebayor in there, even though he's not really our player. And so by the time we even award it to him, he might have gone on some other club. But Adebayor and Scotty Parker. Scotty Parker's really added a bit of steel to us. And I'm not saying that Son didn't have that steel, but he really puts his foot in it. He covers every blade of grass. The only thing you say bad about Scotty Parker, he doesn't have anything offensively. He's primarily a defensive midfielder. That's what a defensive midfielder does. But I think in the era of obviously Vieira and Makalele, and obviously we've seen what Torre's doing as a defensive midfielder. You want them to be able to do a lot more, whether it's passing or making those powerful surging runs, which is what our boy Sandro's doing. But I think he's given us a huge he's been a real ring of steel. He's protected our back four. And he's really allowed creative players to be creative. Obviously, we haven't really rotated him as much. Injuries obviously catching up with him. Plus his age, I think he's 32. So you play that. It's just not. I think people say his age not because of his age. I mean, he's probably a very fit guy, but the style of football he plays, he's kind of wearing your body. So yeah, he's definitely one of my candidates. Yunus Kabul, he has improved so much. I think that's why players leave, because if they can't get games, that's the only way you will improve. It's a huge risk playing any player. If he plays shit, managers get fired. But you play them, they get better because they got it's just I don't care how well you do in training. It's like in martial arts. I don't care how well you are technically you are in in training. If you can't pull up in sparring, you've got a long way to go. And that's our thing with Yunus Kabul. He's shown that he can do it for a fair bit of time. I do worry a little bit about his temperament, obviously, with the Stoke game. But let's face it, Chris Foy. I mean, I would have got pissed if Chris Foy if I said myself, I'd have fucking twatted the guy. But I'm glad Yunus didn't do that. But yeah, it was a bit of a temperament. He's got to sort out positioning, marking. But do you know what? I really think he's got the athleticism. He can play with the ball. I don't know why he still thinks he takes free kicks, but if he spent more time, I'd like to know if he does these in training. That's my one question. Does he practice free kicks in training? Because we don't just practice set pieces. So does he even practice free kicks? So I think if he does, then I'll suggest spend more time working in position, working your marking, and you'll be a much better defender for it. Benny, wow. 09/010. I was saying to anyone that cared that he's part of the thing, but you know what? We need to get rid because our fullbacks are our weakest link. And to be fair, I mean, in good old Charlie. I mean, Charlie's a good player, but if the only thing that Charlie you can say about him is he's just not quick. But Benny's quick, he's mobile, but there was a bit of complacency I felt. wasteful in possession, crossing and everything, but I don't know. And even at the beginning of the Champions League season, let's face it, he was the player that we substituted and brought on Bale, and we played. I don't know if we brought on Huddleston and put Bale as a wing back because he was playing so poorly. And even against Inter Milan, I don't think he played that well that first game, but afterwards, I don't know, something's just changed about him. He's just playing incredibly well. Him and Bale work very well together. My only argument would be that the fact that he likes to go forward a lot, it means Bale has to cut inside to get help in the overlap. I wish Bale would stick to that left-hand side. I wish they'd coordinate it a bit better, but no, he's been fantastic. So yeah, he's my vote player of the season if there is one. But I'll give you guys the option. Adebayor, again, 16 league goals, 11 assists, at least 3 league goals that should have been counted that weren't. And it's just not just assists. He's just such a platform for our attack. He's such an important fulcrum, and I just think he's better than Crouch, Pav, and King combined. I mean, let's face it. And I no disrespect to Peter Crouch, who I always thank for scoring that goal. But let's face it, he plays week in, week out for Stoke. He wouldn't play week in, week out for us. He wouldn't. He wouldn't play ahead of Adebayor, and I think that's the gulf in talent I think we've got. I think there are a lot of players. You've got your JDs, who I think is a great guy. I've met the guys, a really nice guy. Your Bentleys, your JJs, Gio Dos Santos's, Bassongs, who I think are good players, but they're not the players who you think, if we're going to be running a challenge for both the Premier League and the Champions League, if we get in, they're not the players you think are going to take you there. That's just my personal belief anyway. Looking forward, the other player definitely, mentioned Scotty Parker, mentioned Adebayor. Player who I think has had a huge influence is Brad Friedel. I mean, he's been so sure. I mean, the only time I can think I've been a little bit pissed at him was at the QPR game with the Tarabat free kick and Aston Villa. I think he could have made more of an effort, but it's a bit of a deflection, and he's completely the flight does deceive him a little bit, but that's the only thing I can say, and that's two things. And compared to Gomez, I mean, Gomez was a nightmare. He was such a fucking liability at times. You never knew what you got from him, and I think, well, that would be great from, say, a Matt Letizia style player, like or a forward player. Having a player that in goal, you don't know if he's going to have a howler or a brilliant game. That's the kind of thing that makes you a bit, and obviously the yoga, the Pilates. It'll be interesting how that goes, obviously, because you've still got Van der Vaart having his calf strain, so I don't know how useful that's been, how much Van der Vaart's been taken up for it, but no, he's had a lot of professionalism. He's shown, look after yourself. Look, I'm sure Brad Friedel, obviously he's 42, but he probably wasn't getting pissed. He probably does look after. He does eat clean. He does live healthily, and he's got a great career. Obviously, he's a goalkeeper in that position, helps, but he eats right. He looks after himself, and that's how he's able to perform at such a hot top level. I think he's a great example to all the younger players. Other nominations, obviously, you got Kyle Walker. My argument with Kyle Walker is that he's still got to improve his crossing. His final ball is really poor. I think his defending, he uses his pace to get himself out of a lot of bad situations. But no, I think this is his first full Premiership season with us. I know he played very well for Aston Villa, but I think next year will be not make or break. He's only 22 or something, 21, 22. But that's when everyone will be looking at him saying, "Look, you know what? You were first choice. Now show why you're first choice." I think a lot of expectations of Aston Villa, he did very well, but obviously won the PFA Player of the Season ahead of Aguero, which I don't know how, But yeah, in terms of that would be my pick from Player of the Season. But obviously you got your own. In terms of other teams from other players, team players from other teams that really impressed me. You can't really. I hate obviously Aguero, first season in the Premiership. Dempsey, I talked about in my previous video. I think he's done extremely well. Van Persie, I mean, let's face it, he's carrying a whole team by himself. He's carried a whole team up to his point to third. Yaya Toure, Joe Hart. There are some incredible players. What just sucks that they're not Spurs players. Anyhow, I hope to see some of you guys either at the Coach or the Irish or the Bill Nick or the Bell, whatever. And or the Gilpin. And as always, come on you Spurs. It's been a real pleasure being able to share my thoughts with you guys and just be able to talk to you guys. If you guys ever want to tweet me, I am the real Shubon on Twitter, Skype, whatever, that would be great. Anyway, I've run over to my 10 minutes, so as always, come on you Spurs.